What's up, jobbers, and welcome to another edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, it's Nestlemania. Alongside for the right is not JC. He's in España. And we have the Zote, the Zach of all trades, stepping in, my commentary partner from the Proving Ground, and he does everything else in wrestling. So I figured, hey, you know what? He's been doing pretty good work. I'm going to give him the nod. Jack, what do you got?
I do my best. And, in classic Mania season fashion, unfortunately, I missed the immediate post-Mania return, but I gave everybody 3 weeks. And now I'm here for the classic Jobber Knocker hot tag for JC. Got to do what the Zote got to do. We're here. It's a great time, Nestlemania. Thank you so much for having me back.
No problem. So we've got a lot to talk about. We've got Backlash on Saturday, apparently. There's 5 matches there.
Tampa.
Tampa.
It will not let you forget that it is in Tampa.
Tampa. Not tampon. Tenacious Z, he said. All right, the Joe Stopper. By the way, Joe, I'm going to assume that you were the one that updated the picks in the predictions because I didn't do that and TJ can't do it anymore. So I'm going to imagine the Joe Stopper did it. So
what about that update? When did you guys update the intro? That was freaking crafty as hell. That was nice. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You guys got fancy with it.
All right. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about. We always start in the shine, always like Mandy Rose, as JC would say. He loves Mandy Rose. I can't talk about that. So there's a lot that's positive this week, I guess. Zach, since you're the guest and, we have some manners on this podcast, is there anything that you would say that was positive in your neck of the woods?
It's weird. It's weird because I feel like things have been so up and down since after Mania, where it's there's a couple things clicking. I was watching Raw last night and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm dragging through this episode? But at least it's all right, they're doing, because they had such a short window, I feel, in between Mania and Backlash. So having the night-long narrative of Seth and Breaker, I really liked Breaker getting that one-up at the end. You'd think, oh, here's Rollins. He's going to freaking, stand tall going into the pay-per-view. But it's no, they subverted your expectation there. And it at least gave you, in the midst of all the whatever Americano stuff and gajillion Judgment Day reruns, at least here's something that yeah, we could have done a little while ago, but they're making up for lost time, giving it that stretch, that actual all right, here you go, we're gonna fill in all the little blanks and we're gonna make this feel like it's important going into Saturday.
I will say it's a marquee match for me. I do want to see what happens. This to me would have been a WrestleMania match, but this doesn't sound like this is going to be over anytime soon. It feels like we're kicking it off at Backlash here in post-Mania season.
It's always the third inning, Nestlemania. It's always the third inning.
So my question to you is, I don't know if we've talked about this ad nauseum, but what do you think about the Vision thing? Do you think it's officially dead? Does it feel weird to you? Are you excited by Breaker and Rollins? Where do you lie?
See, that's my thing, right? It'll probably be a mini heat, but I could give two less of a cruds about the tag portion of it. Joe Hendry doing the little concert thing is cute. I think there's a little bit of, but again, that's for later. At least the Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins stuff at its core, these are the guys where the storyline is actually based upon. The other guys weren't even Vision members when all this went down. They have no stakes or bearings in what Seth Rollins does. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins is still having issues with the rest of the locker room because of his actions with the Vision. He has to convince the Street Profits and, oh, who the heck is Joe Hendry? But I know you don't trust me. No, we're all fighting the Vision. We're all fighting these freaking whatevers. So at least they're, again, I feel like they're at least trying to get, and even to your point, where they're trying to get their foundation into it. And here we go. Now it'll be the time where now Seth has to redeem himself, and then it's going to be breaking it all down piece by piece. But at the core, it's the Rollins and Breaker stuff that's making that strong. The other guys doing slapstick comedy about being fired is not selling the Backlash match or a tag title feud because they're not defending the belts yet.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but the way you laid it out really made sense because I was thinking, okay, the Vision, but the Vision isn't really what we remember. We remember the Vision being Breaker, Reed, and Rollins. And this was the first week, I think, that they really named Bronson Reed by name, which leads me to think that Reed is closer to returning than we think. But
Nice.
I I don't know how I feel about it because I think the Vision is not a good faction. I don't see it as like this. I think they looked at it as their version of Evolution.
And I bring up the strength of the Rollins stuff, like when he was with the Street Profits. You look at when the Vision was in the locker room, and like they're doing the slapstick, and then Heyman comes in, and Braun Breaker has to go, "Hey guys, stop being idiots!"
Right.
Like, and then they all have to kind of like cherry pick their way to getting Theory to a match with Joe Hendry. Like, you know what? Like, it doesn't feel like they're all in the same thing. Like this, like the vision is not there's no clear vision. It's just everybody is skewed in different sight paths.
That's fair. So overall, do you think this is going to be a banger?
Yes, because Braun Breaker is an exceptional athlete, and Seth Rollins, when faced with, oh my God, I'm coming into this 50%, I'm going to wrestle like I'm at 125 and kill my body. Like, at its core, that's the strength of it. The Breaker and the Rollins are not going to disappoint. It's the same way that I went in with the excitement. Like, despite the build, despite how you get to the Gunther Seth match at WrestleMania, bottom line is you put those two factors on paper, it's gonna produce, because those are two exceptional performers. Breaker and Rollins are gonna do what they're gonna do, and like you said, like somehow, some way, it'll expand into the next phase of it. But at least, and hey, they gotta sell the rest of the ESPN subscription by putting it on the first hour. Like they know what they're doing. They're like, hey, this is going to sell our product to somebody. Like, hey guys, remember when we put Obafemi on that spot and made a superstar? Yeah, make sure you tune in.
Now, I wasn't paying attention. Do they have a first hour on ESPN2 for Backlash?
Yes. So
Okay.
that match is on it, and I believe Io and Asuka is.
Okay.
If I remember the bottom ticker right on Raw.
Okay. Sometimes I'm oblivious to a lot of things. So
You and me both.
So that's interesting because there's only 5 matches as of right now. So
with a SmackDown still to happen, but I don't like see them adding another match unless they really feel like, no, we should have 4 on the main show. And then maybe that's how we're going to get back to a traditional pay-per-view. But considering they want to fill their time with whatever anyway, who are we expecting this from?
I do wonder if they will add a Vision like versus Street Profits or something else that's kind of Joe Hendry versus Logan Paul. Like, I just feel like there's something that could potentially happen. And our Joe Stopper says, I had to put Gunther and Cody Rhodes in the predictions, but I removed it because nothing was confirmed, because maybe they will wait. I don't know. I will talk about, I mean, you know, we can talk about that if we want here, but we talk about positives on the Shine. So it's anything else that you thought was positive there, Zach?
Personally, I like Sol Ruka immediately kind of being in the Becky Lynch position. It's one of those things where I always feel bad for somebody who has to be like the first of somebody's reign, you know, because it's kind of hard. But like for someone like a Sol Ruka, at least it's like, okay, we're putting you in this position. Here you go. Like, and she crushed it. Like, I feel like like the way they performed that with Becky just walking right past her, dealing with Pierce. I almost called him Priest. And then, you know, like her, like literally owning that moment and like using her phrase against her while still, again, like it's not completely breaking Becky. Like it's showing that, you know, okay, you are who you are, but I'm here now. Like you're not going to push me around like you think you can with everybody else. So it's like, yeah, like give somebody that immediate invigoration. Give them that sense of like, all right, she's somebody you can take seriously because she believes in herself seriously. Like she didn't back down from somebody like a Becky Lynch, where anybody else in that position probably would have, you know, we've seen the Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair fallouts, you know, based on whatever happens in the heat of a moment. So for you to keep that composure, and especially after the bump she took on NXT, to, you know, still be like cleared and good to do all this stuff, you know, props to Soul. Wish they didn't change the music though.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are saying, especially the Joe Stopper, about the botch that happened. I mean, unfortunately, shit like that happens. But I will say, up until that point, I was like, okay, Becky's doing a great job being an asshole, and you know, Sol Ruka clearly is a star. You look at her and you're like, this chick just gets it. I mean, she clearly seems comfortable in big moments. Um, and when I was watching her, it's like, okay, they made a big star point with the whole trying to sign a contract. And I always say this to people when a lot of people don't think about this, but it's subliminal when you watch television. And this kind of could parlay into Friday on SmackDown as well. When you debut somebody or you introduce somebody in some form, like they do with Sol Ruka or Ricky, you know, Saints, who you put them up against is the immediate where they are. Like, okay, we take this person. Like, for instance, like if Jericho debuted against somebody else that wasn't The Rock, would you have thought that was probably the best debut of all time? Probably not. But when you put somebody like a Becky Lynch or a Cody Rhodes in that position, you're telling me in the audience, hey, like this person's a big fucking deal, right? So like to me, So Ruka will probably be a big star for a very long time until they decide to, you know, cut her pay. But other than that, I think we'll be perfectly fine.
Right. And it's the same way, like, I feel like you mentioned it perfectly. It's like, who are you putting somebody fresh against to establish where they are? And I'll segue that nicely into over on the blue brand. Now you look at something like a Fatal Influence. You know, I think that they're doing a pretty decent. I think this is the best way they've treated a women's trio like in years. Cause like you think back to like the Riot Squad and how that was just so fumbled. And from there, like nothing's ever, but like immediately you go after the champion week 1. Then you go after Charlotte Flair week 2. And unlike the Judgment Day stuff where you need 18 freaking people on the apron to get your spots through, JC Jane wrestled a match with Charlotte, held her own, and then one little thing is what ultimately, okay, now she makes her statement. Like there, I think presentation matters more than anything. If you make them just seem like these people who can't do anything and they just beat people up for DQs and stuff and then just get knocked around. But like, no, like JC still gets through the riptide at the end, you know, and they have the 10th with Charlotte and Rhea. Like the SmackDown women's division feels like it just got this really nice injection into it in a world where it's needed because the tag part of it is suffering. So at least now, like, there's something that can maybe give that some promise.
I was trying to wait for you to stop talking so I could make a toxic reference, but I'm not going to. But when you said injection, it just made me think of toxic. But it's crazy to me. Like, here's the thing. In theory, Fatal Influence is probably a mid-card act at best, in my mind. But the way that they're presenting it is upper to top of the act, and I'm just like, huh. And then when she beat Charlotte, I'm like, whoa, 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 pump the brakes here. The lady fucking beat Charlotte on like the second week. I mean, obviously there was chicanery involved and all that other stuff. But then I'm thinking to myself, JC Jane. I mean, I know she proved herself in NXT. She went from a side character to being the head of a trio to doing basically winning that NXT Women's Championship and making it something like people thought, she's transitional. And then she had like a JBL run where she just fucking kept winning. And you're like, what the fuck am I watching? But she's good. She's a good talker, good wrestler. I personally, all cards on the table. I'm a Fallon Henley guy, but that's fine.
And I can't even sit there and like fault you for it because I'm also a major Fallon Henley fan. Like I like the stuff that she was doing, being the first women's North American champion, all that. Like she's got it. Like she is super talented in her own right. And I hope that again, like that her and like a Lainey Reed, because like this may be something for her to like bounce off of a Fallon Henley, and maybe they can add some of that little bit of extra, into the tag division. But right now, if we're focusing on JC, sure. Because like you said it where she, in your head, is a mid-card act. But at the end of the day, she has the tools to at least be like, hey, with the pieces in the right place, I can convincingly make you believe that I am a main event act because I literally beat the former now women's champion to win the NXT title. And then win the TNA one and do things that nobody thought possible. So if you didn't think it was possible, then I just beat Charlotte Flair. And, I mean, again, it could either go greatly or it can end up like Kiana James. Results made to be seen.
Fair enough. We don't like to talk about Kiana James on this
What
program.
What did you like, Nessie? You know, is there anything that you found particularly exciting?
Hold on, he's making an X-Pac reference on this one. He said, she's not X-Pac, but JC's journey from eating pins for a faction to leading a faction is strange. Well, listen, I know you hate X Factor. That's all I'm going to say about that, because X Factor was a shitty trio. But I will say this much. Excuse me. I personally really loved Rusev and Ego against Javon and Penta. I thought that was a fantastic match. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. Rusev and All Ego, Ethan Page should be a tag team, not a hodgepodge tag team that's just there to eat pins. Hell, I say, you know what? Let's give them the titles. Let's give them something to do. I think they're going to catch fire. There's something about it. It's just an indescribable feeling I get when I see these two on camera, where it's like a meat and potatoes, just mash guy, and then the fucking smiley guy who's got a lot of fucking shit to say. It just feels right. There's something north and south about it that when I saw it, I was like, this makes me feel so good inside, and I'm happy for these guys. So
it is funny because like post Mania, I really thought it was weird that Rusev was being kept in that little bit of a shuffle, because I feel like they kind of just randomly implanted him into it originally. So like I could see Penta there, I could see Javon there, and then Ego coming in with the natural history with Javon. I'm like, okay, that all could like create some really juicy stuff. And Rusev kind of just felt like a tacked on player to me. But it's like you said, somehow in something that like you never would think would catch, Ego does what Ego does and makes anything entertaining. So like he goes from what just felt naturally right with the Ricky Saints partnership in NXT to, like you said, what potentially may feel like a hodgepodge, but at least he's like putting his all into it the same way he did with Chelsea Green when they were doing the mixed tag stuff, you know. And if that is the direction they want to go with it, and I mean, we can talk more. Oh no, wait, it's not even a match at Backlash. I'm like, oh, because they're gonna do a Fatal 4-Way at Backlash. It's like, no, wait, there's only 5 matches, guys. 5. So eventually, you know, I'm wondering if the Intercontinental title will fall into one of those, and then see how the relationship continues. But again, that's all post Backlash stuff.
Fair enough.
All in all, the tag match was fun. I did find it comical for Michael Cole to like scream warn at Javon to like, oh my God, get down, don't do it, when he was gonna just do the splash through the table that ISHO Speed did at WrestleMania, that everybody was like, he's about to have his WrestleMania moment. Like, Javon Evans is the guy who does all the crazy stuff. Like what do we do? It was just, I just found it like hilarious in the middle of it. And then, you know, obviously, but it worked into the whole where Ego got the pin on the Intercontinental Champion, and, you know, naturally progressing this 4-way to feel better than what I had originally thought it was going to. So it's working.
Deemer for a name? Nah, I don't like that. No. I think we can find something else. We'll find something. Maybe it'll be the Russian-Canadian connection. I don't know. No, not Russian.
It'll be the League of Nations 2.0.
Oh, don't do that. No. No, he's not from Russia. I'm sorry. He's from
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. Yeah, excuse me. I'm terrible. Having flashbacks of Ivan Drago. No, well, they'll think of something, I'm sure. They'll find something stupid to do. Anyway, something else that I'm trying to think of other things. I am curious what your thoughts are, since we've mentioned him several times on here. And he's still always in the shine, it seems like. Danhausen had a multitude of things going on this week. It looked like The Miz had thrown in the towel with the Human Monies gag going wrong, which was fine. And then we had them in the ring where it looked like he wanted no more of the curse, and he was going to give up Kit Wilson, and he was going to go to be a team with Mizhausen, essentially. and then he turned on him again. And now, Miz and Kit are going to take on Danhausen and a mystery partner at Backlash. And so my thought was, I'm curious if you think this is overexposing Danhausen in any way, or is it the right amount? Because I feel like as I'm watching this, I like it so much, I don't want it to stop. However, I am worried that too much of a good thing will end quickly.
You're not wrong in that sense. Because, like, I feel like him now, like, settling stuff in the ring now kind of like I feel like he is at the best when he is influencing everything around him. Like, if there are characters that are involved with him by one means or another, and then you're seeing their trajectories on screen change because of that, it works. But now it's like, oh, like, I'm gonna beat them at Backlash, and not like, it feels like if you're doing too much of it, it's like, so like, where do you draw the line at it? Like, personally, I enjoy Danhausen. Like, I can't sit here and say that I do not enjoy the way he is, like, so quick whipped and the way he bends the wordings and all that stuff. Like, it's clever as hell. And that's the beauty of it. So where does it, like, I feel like it's one of those things where they have the answer, but then it's like with the Wyatts, right? Like, what do you do with it when it's not spooky? How do you make it wrestling? And it's like, I feel like with Danhausen, you don't have to make it wrestling, but they're gonna really try because it's in every other facet, it's working. So they're like, we have to make it work here because he can't I mean, to hell, he could have just did another segment with Cena because Cena's like, I'm just going to be on every pay-per-view now, I guess, now that I'm retired. Why not? I mean, who's going to fault him? Put on a suit and trot down and be the ambassador. Sure. And then Danhausen comes out, and I don't know. But, I mean, as long as, like you said, I mean, you don't want too much of a good thing, but they know what they have. So hopefully they know how to play it. And hopefully this tag match is not just a puddle of mud.
Our boy, the Joe Stopper, said, let Danhausen pick Oba for a Mr. Mina Elliott one-time exclusive. I think that'd be fucking hilarious, but Oberhausen sounds fun. Kind of like Oberheimer, excuse me. The one thing that got thrown on here, Zach, which really piqued my interest, which I don't think will happen in any day of the week. But again, we can fantasy book here, right? We can have fun. Was that Kit Wilson and Miz are taking on Danhausen and Elton Prince returning, which I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting.
Would be hysterical. And I had that thought in my head. I'm like, how funny would it be if he somehow uses his magical powers to rise him from the dead in paint? And then Kit Wilson's like, and they do the Spider-Man meme, but then he does his stupid flex thing, and Kit Wilson curses him. Like, or no, I'm sorry, Elton Prince.
Yeah.
Damn names.
Yeah. I am curious who they pick. Obviously, we just talked about that one. Do you have a feeling either way?
You know what? With how much the brands do not matter right now, I have every belief in my brain that for some reason they're just going to put LA Knight in it just to spite him. Like, hey, all that big push you want? Nah, you're going to be the surprise thing in this comedy feud, but at least you're on pay-per-view, buddy.
Something else that popped into my head, if it's not LA Knight, yeah. Mr. Pepsi Cola Man is not doing anything. And he loves himself some Danhausen. Probably the guy that got him hired other than Cody. So
imagine a world where CM Punk like lost the title of Roman Reigns and then was like, yo, Danhausen, you need backup, my guy?
But imagine if he came out with the fucking mask paint thing, like, and he was Punkhausen. Like, I could see that he's gonna have it. I don't think it's a good idea for him. It's not career suicide, but I feel like he's not doing anything. It's how you put butts in the seats. But I feel like, I don't know, is there somebody that they could have returning? Could it be Royce Keys? I have no idea. Like, they could do anything. But I feel like they're gonna kill Royce Keys if they do that too. So it is interesting to see who they pick. It's not gonna be John Cena. It ain't gonna be Trick Williams. It's just like, I'm looking down this roster thinking to myself, who is not doing anything? It's not the Demon.
Is it just going to be Joe Hendry because, it's so disjointed from the Vision stuff anyway that he can just do a pay-per-view match and nobody will be bothered by it?
I have no idea. It's very, very weird. I won't be tuning in most likely, but it'll be something that I will keep tabs on. But
I might actually be able to because for the first weekend in forever, I don't have somewhere to be. It's crazy.
Well, kudos to you, sir.
I know, right?
Anything else is positive, or do you want to get rolling into the heat?
I'll say we can go into the heat, but I do want to throw a little bit of sprinkle shine, if you will, to something that I enjoyed seeing in the sense of when they did because again, the Judgment Day thing is very annoying. However, I really liked in the backstage portion of it in the clubhouse where they actually acknowledge the fact that you can easily see what happens on the television program. Like Liv Morgan calling out Roxanne, what is he doing and why do I have to watch the show? Because the amount of times that we, the audience, are showed something, we're showed a segment, but the people that are associated with it will never know about it because it didn't happen in front of them, or they weren't, on the other side of the door in the corner listening, and you have that camera shot that every storyline has, and you know what it is. So the fact that they actually had the sense to go, hey, let's actually acknowledge the fact that things happen on this show and the actions do then have follow through. And it's not like these people are stupid because this is a publicly traded brand. It is constantly shoved in your face to watch, subscribe, please endorse our product. So for the heaven God, if you didn't know that your person was infiltrating your stuff, it's right there. Cameras caught it.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point.
But now you can hit your famous line.
Get him off my TV, get him off my TV, get him off my TV. There you go. It is a thing. Besides Roxy and Leopard Print, that's another thing we can put in the shine. But JD and Finn had a great match, so that was fine. The scary Spanish fly, it is what it is. Don't love the fact that we're kind of teasing this. JC and I have the joke that the Judgment Day technically has lasted longer than the Bloodline, and the amount of members who have changed it from Edge till now, it's fucking comical that it's you figure it's dead and it keeps on going. I mean, Rhea and Priest are gone. It's just it just keeps going.
I'm waiting for Finn, Rhea, Priest, and Truth to align to fight them, but then there's too many guys and there's so many gals. So it's there's gonna be 2 Judgment Days somehow.
I don't know.
And it'll never die.
It just keeps on going. I think it lasts longer than the NWO. That's fucking crazy to me. Because the NWO technically was granted, there's periods of time. Yeah, thank you.
From at least 96 till you would say 2000, because then they come back in 02, but the initial run, I would think.
I mean, it's literally, I think started, Edge was what, 39?
That's WrestleMania 38.
38, yeah. 38.
Because that was when he had the fight with Styles, which was Priest, and then Rhea, and then they kicked him out with Finn.
38.
That's 2022. Yeah, 4 years. Damn.
Right? It's crazy.
The time is an illusion.
We are in a loop, man. We are in a simulation, as the kids say. So, anyway, things that bother me. Let's get moving on this one because God knows I've got a lot. Ricky Saints to me did not fucking impress me one goddamn bit. I was really upset with this. I like Ricky Saints a lot. Obviously, JC is not here to suck off on Cody. He'll only say, God, the weeks that JC's not here, that Nestlemania grows a set and says something about Cody. Obviously, Cody is QB1, but even Cody couldn't help Ricky Saints here. I was disappointed. I had high hopes. Obviously, it's just one outing. He'll be fine. I just wasn't super impressed by the promo. Felt a little forced. I thought the match was great, but there's something about Ricky Saints that feels like there's something missing, and I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling when I watch him. It's he has so many intangibles. He has so many different things about himself, and he'll be fine. but there's something about him that I feel like just isn't cooked fully. And I don't know what it is.
There, I will expand a little bit because I have him in my hope
Okay.
later on, which is, you know, its own thing. But I watched the Ricky Saints and Cody stuff out of order because I came home to seeing the match advertised and then going into the match, but like I came home late on that day. So I've since then watched back the promo. So when I saw the match pop up, I'm like, oh, that's how Ricky's here. Oh, this is gonna be great. And then the match was pretty good. But then, like you said, the promo just didn't land. Like I felt like they tried to pick it back up with some of the stuff where it's like, oh, what's different? When Cody's like, what's different this time than the last time you tried this with me? And you know, it's like you're different, you know. And then, but it's like, and then he, you know, again, it's the putting over what he's done. But here's where yours is, and then this is what I've done, and this is why I have a reason to stand to you. But it's one of those things where like I get worried because like you said, like he'll be fine, but I hope it doesn't become a thing where like, because you look at 2 years ago when Mello was in this exact same spot, the fresh guy comes onto SmackDown and the immediate first thing he does is fight Cody, and then it takes him 2 years to finally catch fire for them to pull it out from underneath him. So hopefully he finds whatever that thing is that he is missing, in your opinion. Because like I don't disagree with you, because like I Ricky Saints is phenomenal, but I just hope that he finds his footing a little bit. I hope like you said, I don't want it to feel forced, because like there is so much that you can play with a character like him, and like I said, something in my hope may be somewhere they can go.
I will say this, and again, this is just me, and I know it's wrestling, so it doesn't technically matter because pot, meat, kettle, but thank God he's in the WWE, because I feel like he's not a wowing wrestling guy for me. Like I'll be honest with you, I can't name a Ricky Saints or a Ricky Starks match that I'm like, I remember. And I know that that's just me being me, but in the world we live in now, it seems like as long as you have a connection to the audience, it doesn't really matter. It just,
Right.
it feels
I
that
mean,
way.
again, they can, because I mean, most of Mania was less than 10-minute matches where more often than not the people were there because of the characters at play. You know, like, and it's an unfortunate like give and take, but it's kind of like if you have that superstar presence and you can connect, then you're gonna be okay. And at the end of, like, Ricky can still back it up. Like he has very innovative offense that in a moment's notice, like again, he had some good friggin' back and forth with Cody. So it's not like he went out there and bombed it. Like he at least was like in the same way I talk about JC Jane. But it's like, again, it's just like don't sacrifice one thing to value another.
Mm-hmm. The Joe Stopper says he had a good feud with MJF. He did. I remember him getting speared out of his loafers. I remember that part. Other than that, I don't remember anything else. I mean, to be fair, it's hard for me to enjoy AEW in general all these years. But we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. Maybe not. I don't know. Moving on. Let's see what else we've got here. I'm curious how you feel. Here's the thing. I think we might be on the same page. Maybe you'll talk me off a cliff here. I don't know. I'm feeling bloodline fatigue already. This is harsh because I love Jacob Fatu. I'm a big fan of everybody in the bloodline, supposedly, at least in my mind. But when I'm watching this, it feels like a rerun, just replacing Jacob with Jay from like 5 years ago. And then I don't care for Roman Reigns as my champion anymore. Like, it just feels too similar for me at this moment. I'm sure they'll get better at it. I just feel like what is going to be different or better than this time? Like, I don't know. And I'm looking at it being like the weight and the gravity of the Usos being still hype man, but not feeling like bitches is great. I love the idea of the tongue and death grip with Jacob and the way he's kind of an unhinged character. I appreciate that. But their lack of their ability, and I know like people are going to give me shit either way. I know it's not always black and white, but I think in this world, it really feels like, at least in this particular moment, I do want to know that there's a little bit of a white and black situation here in terms of who's the baby face, who's the heel. I think that's where I'm losing a little bit of it, because to me, I know there's shades of gray and I get that, but I think by not clearly defining either person, it really makes me feel like I'm indifferent about it.
I think that the theme of this podcast, because there's going to be a word that I'm going to use again, forced. On paper, Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu is money. Obviously, there is the familial ties, but like from the moment that he popped up on Raw and was like, I need that title, I need to take everything from you, I didn't buy it, because nothing about the Drew McIntyre feud or anything he was doing within that ethos of character work reflects to needing to take the head of the table, take the world heavyweight championship from Roman Reigns. And because that's, like you said, like it kind of feels into this muddled plane. And it also comes at the deficit of the Usos, who can't seem to get out of the start of like the character development that's right there. Like, I feel so bad for Jimmy that he has to kind of like just be the same stone face while his brother has dyslexia about which attitude he's supposed to have which week. Like, and it's again, like they're interjected into this feud, but when they go and say, oh, we're here in case something goes south later, and then when everything goes south later, they're not even there. So it's like, what is the idea here? Who am I supposed to believe in? Because I'm hearing people tell me things, but none of them are the one that's like convincingly like, please support my cause. Because it's like like as soon as Jacob Fatu tries to get sympathy, Roman Reigns is like, well, here I am now for all the freaking families and houses and all that stuff. And then he gets sniped by a death grip. So it's like Jacob Fatu supposed to be the bad guy because he keeps on trying to, get the jump on Roman. Who knows? Maybe the Backlash match will have a clearer psychology than we know now.
I think I do want to bring up something that you brought up earlier, though, that I think is very interesting, is that when you look at the Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns thing, it's the sympathy of, well, this is the first guy facing the champion. And he ain't fucking winning, especially if it's Roman Reigns. I would be beyond shocked if Jacob Fatu walked out World Heavyweight Champion.
And this is something where, like, again, where you talk about the Roman stuff, right? Where it's like, what is different about this reign? Where it's like, okay, now Roman's just going to win. Like, please tell me that someone like an Obafemi, like, there's a clear, like, soon-to-be destination. Because if we have to sit through a year-long reign for them to cook something to get to WrestleMania again, like, no, thank you. I would have rather kept the belt on Punk and had him continue to wither down and play on the stuff about him being an old man. And, if it's going to be a Jacob Fatu is first, at least he somehow has to survive this crazy animal rather than Roman Reigns just freaking smacks him, But, like, again, it's still, like we were talking about earlier, where it's like things are still in their infancy. Like, Roman Reigns just has become the champion. And, I mean, they're obviously trying to intermingle it with the SmackDown stuff because, again, the brands don't matter. So maybe there's greater things at play. The Bloodline story is always in its freaking 5.5 innings. So, Paul Heyman will somehow freaking turn back up in this. I don't know how, because somehow he'll have to choose between somebody and somebody.
I do wonder if we're going to get Vision versus Bloodline at War Games. Like, that doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility, but
I mean, Roman and Seth had that little freaking thing at the beginning where they were so like maybe there's a world heavyweight title program where they gotta like earn the respect because the Vision fucking blops them, and it's like, oh, it's Roman, it's Jimmy, it's Jay, and Fatu wants nothing to do with them, and we need Seth Rollins this time, and Seth Rollins finally fucking cracks because, again, the enemy of your enemy or something. But that's Survivor Series.
That's November, baby.
That's November, baby. We in May. It's madness up in here.
It's tough to think, like, and the other thing that was weird to me, which again is okay, but the fact that Roman went on the post-game show and was like, I'm going to be here all summer, so get comfortable. And then it's like, then you hear the report of like, he ain't going to be here in June. And you're like, huh? Like,
Right. So
isn't
then why
June
has he
part of
got
the
the
summer?
belt? For what? For him to do another thingy-maboot. Like,
I don't know. It's
I
weird to me because I feel like the whole point of this, I would assume, was that it would be the opposite or similar. I mean, that's not true. I would be the opposite or different than his previous reign, where he would part-time come in, miss like 6 months at a time, come back, whatever. I'm joking it for, obvious reason. But when you look at it, he came out and said, like, we gonna fix that. Like, it's just the way he did it. I was just like, okay, cool. We got him for the whole summer. That made me like feel like, okay, like Roman Reigns on my television every week is good stuff. But if he's not there in June, it's like, huh? Huh?
it's just a
Like,
pocket.
I don't
There's just a
understand.
pocket. And there's just a pocket to fill, and that's where Obafemi does his open Oba challenge.
So that's the other thing too. Like, boy, is Otis. We'll switch over unless you have any other bloodline related things, because that was a perfect segue.
Yeah. You were good.
I enjoyed Oba's open challenge, but I do fear, not fear. I'm just gonna state this. I'm watching my Raw. I'm watching my SmackDown. Too many fucking open challenges. Way too many fucking open challenges. You know what it feels like is it takes away. I don't care if there's one on either show. I don't care if there's 6 of them. Whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. The fact that there's so often, the fact that there's so many makes me feel like there's a shit. I blew my load writing this creative over here. And so we're just, I don't know, fucking open challenge machine. Let's just fucking crank them out.
Like, it literally just feels like the crutchiest crutch, more crutch than Nikki Bella's crutch. Like, because like, why is when Sammy brought back the US Open Challenge from the initial jump, it felt super cool because like open challenges hadn't been done like consistently like in a long time. Like, they were sporadic. Like, I couldn't tell you one that happened in between the Cenas and the Sammys. I'm sure there are a couple of them, but you know what I mean? Like, they were kind of just like little mid-card thingies that didn't have a lot of attention on them. But now it's like they're just doing open challenges because it's like, oh, Oba beat Brock Lesnar. Now what? Braun Breaker's busy. Jacob Fatu's busy. Like, who's intimidating enough to fight Oba? Let's give him Otis. And like, I'm sorry. I'm glad we're in the heat during this because like I love Oba, but you can't. We're commentators. I'm sorry, you can't sell me the feat of strength of power bombing Otis when it took him how long to freaking decide that he wanted to do that, put him up there, then bobble him underneath it. Like, if you're gonna do it, either do it the way you're gonna or hit a power bomb, like a Batista bomb style. Like, for them to play that up like it was like the most craziest thing that had ever been done in the history of man, when like the throw was more impressive in my opinion, when he like hulked up afterwards. And I was like, I thought he was gearing up to do that again, and then he arbitrarily set up the power bomb, and then it kind of like took me out of it because they were like, I enjoyed the meat, like even the Tozawa thing was funny because I cringed originally, and then when he backed off, it was like, okay, thank God, because if I had to sit here for 30 seconds and just watch him take one power bomb and lose, thanks for wasting my time. But like, at least Otis freaking ripped off the shirt and he freaking tested him and then got launched on his ass. It was,
Yeah.
it's made for TV.
Now, if they're all meat open challenges, that's fine, but I fear that we are going to run out of meat eventually. That's what it feels like anyway. So it's tough.
Yeah, because there's only so many people that can like believably fight Oba, and if you're just burning them in open challenges, then you have nothing to build to in terms of like actual meat and potato storylines until like, because obviously immediately after Mania, like his eyes were set on Roman and Roman responded to him. So like, but again, I'm hoping that that's like, we're not going to take a year long of this or 4 months of open challenges and then 1 or 2 half-baked storylines to get us all the way to WrestleMania. Like, let's get some clear direction off these challenges and let's set some destinations.
For me, I still plant a flag in the sand saying he's gonna be the ruler. The ruler naturally wins King of the Ring and then wins the #1 contendership to SummerSlam and then beats Roman there. That would make sense to me. and it's parallel to the Brock Lesnar story. So I feel like it keeps writing itself. So that would be my thought, because it's not that I want the rocket ship on Oba, but I mean, he's already in orbit. So, I mean, you might as well do what you want with the poor guy. Because at some point, I think you're right, Zach, that at some point, even as a commentator, but as a fan, you look at it and it's all about believability, right? They either have to, like, the person fighting him either has to be relatively big width, or the height needs to be in the same ballpark for you to be like, oh, this guy's relatively the same size in some form or stature, for you to be like, oh, this will be good. Now, granted, it was still a jobber alert and it was fine. It was less than 3 minutes and your pizza's free. But I will say it was entertaining. But I am curious to see what's next. Like, are we going to do meat? Are we going to call in some big hosses? Or are we going to just let them beat people up? So I don't know. It is what it is.
Future is so uncertain. Maybe Rusev and Ego will freaking slapstick and find their way over there for some meaty.
Well, listen, Rusev versus Oba is fine by me. I have no issue with that, because I believe that at least Rusev could put up a quality fight. You're not going to win, but, you know, like, that's the thing. I think as I get older and more curmudgeon-y, I do want to be enjoyed, you know, while I'm watching my wrestling. I want to have a good experience, but I also am sitting there being like, I can suspend disbelief. Like, I mean, I'm 150 pounds soaking wet on a good day, but like when I'm watching something and it's like, oh, Bafemi's a fucking like giant fucking man, he should probably fight a giant.
Hey, 150 pounds, but you can explode through a table like the best of them.
And it's still not a clip on the proving ground, by the way. So maybe we should get that to see me getting exploded through a table. It is what it is. I went through that table perfectly. Thank God he knows what he's doing.
You know what I need to see exploded through a table? This stupid gingerbread man storyline. Please get this off my freaking TV if we're going to talk about terrible, terrible. Ugh.
Listen, it felt cringy when it wasn't cringy. Like, okay, it's cringy in certain aspects. It's not cringy in others. It's not cringy for me when Sami Zayn is doing it, because Sami Zayn is applying the fact that he's a heel, and it's absurd with the whole gingerbread man thing and how people are turning on him. And there's a death graphic. That's fine. Where I get cringy is where I feel like they got the doctor with the mask saying it ain't good, Trick, and he's like, you know, like, I'm gonna get you because of the gingerbread man. It's like, I know you're trying to be The Rock, like, I get it, but it just felt so fucking ridiculous that when I was watching it, I thought, why? What? Like, who on earth thought this was a good idea?
This is AI. You can't tell me otherwise. They're like, oh, funny gingerbread funeral graphic. And they're like, oh, this is what we're going to base the storyline on. Because I'm like, even like, when they did the promo with Sammy, and, you know, like, okay, he's using it as like a sense of being a martyr. Like, I'm not going to be identified by this and yada, yada. But like you said, when it started becoming this whole thing where it's like, oh my God, like, he's not doing well. And then they're like having all this freaking sympathy for it. Like, I'm like, do we not like, it is a costume, guys. There is no, like, you watched him rip the arm off of it. As much praise as I give Liv Morgan for like breaking face and watching the show, can you not be smart enough to I don't get where this was supposed to work. Like, how I'm supposed to care now about a United States Championship match over the fate of a gingerbread man. Like, I was ready to move on from this feud after WrestleMania. And it's like, you had a little yachty right there that you could have murderized. But we're doing a gingerbread costume. Like, I just felt like it was like, it's a total just unnecessary follow-up to Trick Williams having this moment becoming United States champion. And with how strong that championship has been over the past year, for it to now be back to like in a joke feud, like, just feels wrong. When again, you have so many people who could credibly be making that championship continue to be interesting.
I mean, Trick Williams is going to catch fire again anyway if he's not already still on fire. So I'm not really worried about Trick Williams. I think Sami Zayn is Sami Zayn, but man,
I love Sami Zayn. Like,
You
I am a
do?
pro Sammy. Like, there's
Are
nobody.
you a
I
Sami Zayn ride or died guy?
like, I will not accept Sami Zayn slander in this household. Like, what so freaking ever. You can't tell me otherwise. But like, but this is what I mean. Like, why is this what we're doing with someone like a Sami Zayn when like he has such a good character motivation going on right now? It's the same thing with the Usos. Like, there's such a good thing that you could really be sinking your teeth into, and he's beating up a puppet.
You make a good point. I don't like Sami Zayn because he blocked the jobber knocker. That's okay.
Oh, what a jerk! He just felt like he's like,
you know what he did? You know what he did? He fucking vanity searched and saw that I wrote Sami Zayn is a jobber like 40 years ago and was like, block like a fucking fraud.
See, that's what happens, man. Nothing on the internet goes away, Nestle. You're gonna get punished for things you said so long ago.
Karma's a bitch, isn't it? Jesus.
Trouble. That's Nestle.
You said something twice. We can talk about pre-mode. Happened twice. So that happened. Sorry, that's the only thing else I could think of. Women's tag match. Yeah, great, wonderful.
Yeah. And oh my god, like I hate how clever the finish was and how bumbled it got to get there. Like, the kick out on the kick out of the knee looked so weak, but like, if they had done that effectively and Paige played scrappy defense and Brie like fell into that, that's yum. And I would have actually, but it's like, no. And where's Nikki Bella's booking crutch when you need it? Where did she go? But is she sad that Paige is the champion and she can't be? So now she's like, I don't want to be involved in this anymore. Like, I don't know. I was like, man, remember when like they were hyping up these freaking irresistible forces and then they come down the ramp for that match and they're like, for 49 days they were champions. I'm like, wow, it really doesn't feel like that long, huh? Like, damn.
That finish bothered me in so many ways. It felt like I was watching the Divas division again.
Yeah,
it felt like Brie was trying to pack a hastily pack. Like, she was trying, you know, when like you have too much in your suitcase and you're trying to like get it down. That's what it looked like to me. It was just like her trying to like, you know, pack the hastily packed suitcase, and she's like trying to do this, and I'm just like, what am I watching? And it just keeps going bam, bam, bam. So I just
like, listen, Bailey with her BBL would have crushed that spot. Okay, Brie Bella's little Twiggy nugget, no, it did not work. And again, that's where it's like, I hate that. Like, it was such a good spot. Like,
it was.
If you're gonna beat that team, that's a hell of a way to do it. Like, but again, it's just why is this what we're doing with these belts? When again, it's the same thing, the same way I feel about the United States Championship. Something that was like relatively nothing had this like resurgence of life, and now it just feels like it's in this gleg of nothingness because like they held out all hope for a Nikki Bella. Well, at the expense of Asuka and Io, who have no depth to their story anymore.
Whew.
You can't hide the missing variable with all the editing and subtitles in the world.
Fair enough. I did like the movie thing though. That seemed pretty cool with like the spraying. I didn't mind it, honestly. As bad as this whole thing has been, it wasn't the worst thing I've seen. So
aesthetically, absolutely, it was beautiful. But like, what annoys me is, again, like, as somebody who's like drawn into the stories of the character, like, why is it the same stuff that's been rehashed? Like, we know that this is the stuff. So either play more to your, like, expand on this lore even just a little bit more besides saying you've changed, you're not my mentor anymore. Like, we figured that out when it was a tag feud that can't happen anymore because Rhea Ripley's the champion on the other show. Like, give me more, because like, you held off for a month on this storyline. Like, so what's the extra month of reason, you know? Like, I just wish that there was more to it. That clearly is there between characters like this who have been going for as long as they have been.
Anything else, or would you like to get hopeful, Zach?
Sure. You know, who wants to drag? Who likes dragging? Dragging sucks.
Glorious. You're my only hope. We're gonna go into hope now. Would you like me to go first? You are the guest. You can pick.
I'll tie up. I'll do. You guys know I have a second one now, so I'll tie up one, then you can go, and then I'll have like an actual one. So
I've got too many ones, so let's go ahead.
Perfect. So I was thinking about it, right? Where it's like, oh, Ricky Saints, right? Okay, what's that thing he's missing? Well, what do we need Little Yachty for? I feel like Ricky Saints, you talk about a hodgepodge that if you just put them together, it could be something where they can play off each other. A Ricky Saints, maybe with a Trick Williams, where they just are both these absolutely shiny, charismatic, and Trick's a little bigger than Ricky Saints. Like, I don't know, there's something about them just being like these Hollywood douchebags that are both natural promos who can fucking ping pong off of each other and then get heat back, because obviously everybody loves Trick. They're trying to find a way to keep this the way it's supposed to be. Ricky Saints there it is, because everybody loves to hate that guy. And I mean, I can just imagine a world where they're trying to duel their freaking entrances with the freaking crowd chanting "whoop that Trick" and him doing his stupid beer. Like, if the Ego and Ricky Saints thing had any, it walked, so something like this could then, maybe help both of these guys have their freaking thing and be better than they already are. Maybe people will care. And who knows? In a tag team, maybe the tag team titles can matter, as if those things will ever matter ever again.
I forgot who was doing things on the tag team division anyway. But you're right. You're right.
What's your hopeful for, Nessie?
Well, one mini hope is I want Royce Keys to have an actual program. And it seems like the obvious thing here would be to have Solo. And I feel like Solo could potentially put Royce Keys on the map, because I feel like Solo does not get enough credit here, folks, that Solo makes other people. Solo makes he's the guy you beat before you become the guy, it seems like. So to me, I think that'd be a really interesting feud, especially with feeling how the Mafia kind of feeling that you get with the at least now Tala Tonga and Solo. There are others, RIP, at least on the TV screen anyway. And it, there's that street feeling, and I could see Jacob and Royce getting together as they had that moment of that like, we come from the streets, we take what we want kind of stuff. So I feel the natural progression there happening, and I think Royce Keys is ready to get kind of launched into something, but they do seem like they are slow playing it.
I really like what you said about Solo, because I had a thought recently, and it kind of ties into that point that we had about Obo, where it's like, okay, but like, then who? Because it's like, I feel like there hasn't been somebody who's been like a Dolph Ziggler on the main roster since him, where there's your first guy to get your feet wet with, to get you acclimated, to like be that person that's going to make you look like $1 million and be fine after losing, because he'll just justify it by doing what he does. And I think you put it perfect that Solo could be that guy, because like, Solo's a guy who hasn't been on a single WrestleMania. Like, clearly this is a guy that like is still getting investment in him, despite never really like making him the guy. So if he's there to kind of like be this just, oh, well, if you want to make it, you got to go through me because I'm Samoan and I got my family and we run this, and then he gets smacked. You know what? Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Freaking people have made their lives on that. And it's not like, again, Solo can't go if needed. Like, they can pop something random for him and he'll play the freaking role. So if it becomes, yeah, let's freaking give him to a Royce Keys. Like, that's fun. That's wicked fun. Because he'll bump like hell, and Tala will bump like hell. And I wish there was a Jeff Cobb there to bump like hell, but we can't live in a perfect world. We can only hope for a brighter future.
Okay. What's your other hope?
The brighter future in which we listen to Joe Hendry and fire Logan Paul.
Yikes. You know what? This just occurred to me that you said this. this is completely off topic, but you said Logan Paul. Since I want to put respect on Logan Paul's name, you know, there's that report. We don't talk about the dirties a lot on this program. We don't like talking dirt sheet stuff because we think that's bullshit. But if you believe the report that there is a top tier, I don't know if you saw this, with all the budget cuts, that somebody took a 50% pay cut. Wouldn't it be fucking wild if it was Logan Paul? Like, think about that for a second. The man's probably like, I got enough fucking money. I love this. Like, that's the most backstage babyface thing to do that he'll never be able to admit. But imagine if he's like, I'll take a 50% pay cut because I got fucking $1 million endorsements here. I've got this over here. I'm fine. Like, imagine if he did that.
But that's the same thing of like, and again, like I avoid bringing them up because it's like, it's not, it doesn't, outside of obviously like TKO being business moguls is like affecting certain things on screen. There's no denying that. But like, oh, here's this, whatever. But like they could say that about the stuff that I've heard about Roman Reigns. But it's like Roman Reigns has made oogles of money. But if Roman Reigns feels he's valued at certain amount of money, he's going to keep that money. Logan Paul's a guy who sells Pokemon cards for millions of dollars because he can. You know, if he can get what he's going to get out of something, I'm not going to put it past him. But I mean, like you said, it would be wicked, like totally out of left field if he was that noble hero, you know. But I can't help but sympathize with Joe Hendry in the sense. But like, it's too bad he's world tag team champion and highly freaking somehow talented at this wrestling thing, and they will not do that. I did think it was a little bit in poor taste with all these people, you know, being let go and, you know, being their future endeavor to then make a whole storyline about how TKO can't fire me. You know, like I felt like that was in a little, and that's where I was even like, is he somebody who would take a pay cut? Considering he's like, look at me, I'm ironclad. They can't get rid of me.
That's an excellent point, but I'm just spitballing here. I
mean, again, we don't know. That's why we don't talk about the freaking other stuff. We just look at what's on TV. What's on TV is a hothead who's tag team champion with a freaking dingle ding.
Wow, not a fan of the theory either. The pressure. Does the pressure get to you?
Man, pressure.
I forgot what my other hope is, so let's just go to our comeback. All right? Don't call it a comeback. He's literally been here for a very long time. I'm going to give mine to Damian Priest. That match I was watching, they call it Weepa Up. I did not know that was their tag team name.
I thought that was just a clever merch t-shirt. And then when I found it was their thing, I'm like, really? That's what we're doing? Okay.
I don't hate it. I mean, it's a funny tag team. But, you know, like Fraxium cannot do any wrong in my opinion. I don't know how they survived, but they're great. But I was watching that match and I was just like, I was so impressed with Priest. Like, no matter what positions he's in, and I know he's older, he's not old, but he's older. I just watched him and I thought, man, this guy deserves so much more than what he's getting. I know he's doing whatever he can, but there's something about that guy. When I watch him, I'm just thinking, man, this guy's actually really fucking good at his job. And I just wanted to make sure we got a quick shout out for Damian Priest because I'm not a Damian Priest guy. But it doesn't mean he doesn't belong somewhere. Like when I watch him on my TV, I'm like always like, God, this guy's talented. He's not for me, but he's goddamn talented.
And see, I am very much a Damian Priest guy. And like, it's a testament to him that he can make something like this R-Truth act work way past its freaking sell date. You know, because again, like you said, Fraxium is amazing. And Priest basically had a 2-on-1 handicap match. So, like, you could say comeback in the sense of, like, he's coming back into form. Like, he's showing that, like, yeah, I do belong in a sea full of Jacob Fatu's and Royce Keys and this guy and the other. Like, I have a value. I can kick ass, I can take names, and I can do what the ship needs me to do. And, like, at the end of the day, he backs it up. So, like, I at least can find it charming, the stuff with Truth, because I've always been a Truth guy as well. Like, I have no hate for this act. I just wish it was, like, 2 years ago. But it doesn't change the fact that, like you said, Priest is, you know, he's trudging along and he's doing good work. You know, like, they had a decent match with Los Garza, too. Like, I'm surprised those guys are even still around. But, like, at least there's another team that gets to at least be in the mingle of something and can show what they can do, and Priest can elevate it in that way.
Fair enough. It's a good point, Zach. All right, so you have a comeback, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Let's start with the fact of somebody mentioned somebody's name in a promo, and it was right before the Raw main event, because there's main event match and there's a main event segment. The main event match was a trios match, with a little bit of a lucha AAA tie to it. And OG El Grande Americano brought up one Chad Gable, who's still, on the sideline. So hopefully he's going to come back soon, ready, better than ever, I mean, I know we've got this big mask versus mask match the same day as May Madness, which means I won't be watching it, because we'll be over there doing our thing. But hopefully Chad Gable can get back into the fray very soon, because he is very much missed and hella talented and should be mixing it up with the fresh crop of talented people on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, wherever he decides to be, because he's Chad Gable and he can fit anywhere in the world.
Fair enough. I guess that's pretty much it. We go to the big finish now. You good?
Big old finny fins.
So we can talk about. I did not prepare. Usually, this is where JC talks about what's scheduled for next week on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I did not take a look at this.
I don't even know I don't even remember. I watched Raw. I don't remember if they freaking flashed a bunch of stuff. I know that they recapped the pay-per-view, but
yeah. Well, you know what? Then we'll just go right into Backlash, because that just seems like the natural progression here. I don't want to talk about AEW because honestly, I've stopped watching. Sorry, Joe. I only read your fucking things because Joe keeps me up to date. Thank God we have the Joe Stopper in this world. So we're just gonna go to Backlash at Backlash, and we got up front. You talked about Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman in a singles match here. I'm going to take Seth Rollins because I feel like this is just going to start something and we're not going to end. Well, do I want to take Seth Rollins if we're just starting out? I feel like Seth Rollins will win, but he'll get injured in some way or like hurt after the fact. I'm going to stick with Seth Rollins.
See, and I'm glad you did, because I'm like, all right, come on, don't make me agree with you, because like I'm kind of leaning more towards Braun Breaker in the sense of, I think we had talked about it earlier with a couple other people, where it's like, okay, you can lose this match and you'll be fine after it. Like Braun Breaker coming back fresh at WrestleMania, like if he just comes back, because like the last things he was doing was losing to like Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then just getting into things, and then he got hurt. So it's like, now if you just lose to Rollins, like how threatening are you? Versus if Breaker stands tall one more time, and now Seth really has to beg for help now because he is like on death's doorstep, like cannot beat these guys, and you really make him feel like he needs it. I don't know. I feel like that's more than just Seth Rollins beating the guy and then taking the wind out from under his spears. Hopefully he at least freaking nails the spear, though.
Here's hoping.
That's the key.
Moving on to the next one. We've got Io Sky versus Asuka. I feel like the answer here is Io Sky because Asuka's just feeling like we're in fucking Albatross, like Bermuda Triangle, purgatory feeling now after Kairi Sane being gone. So, I mean, maybe Asuka can win and maybe this continues. I don't know. I just feel like Io Sky is a fucking superstar right now. Asuka obviously has been a superstar, but feels like kind of hasn't been on my television in a superstar matter in the last couple of months. So I don't know. I'm going to pick Io Sky. I do not feel confident about that choice, though.
I feel a little more confident than you do in the sense of like without the obvious third piece, like there's not much you can really do to make like, because like I said, like they had the extra month to make me care more about this match than I would have a month ago. So like, what is it going to do if you stretch it further? Like at this point now, you kind of like, you had me with Io potentially like stepping up to Becky Lynch the same way so Ruka did. Like there is potential for her to kind of like really just make her own wave again and let Asuka kind of maybe fall into a solo role of like, I am just like the gatekeeper of the women's division where like I will freaking strong style test you to your limit, kind of thing. But like, and I mean, again, you never want to listen to the dirty dirts, but if she is involved, then I just feel like it's the natural way to end it here. They should have ended it a month ago. So Io on top just like feels right.
Fair enough. Moving on, we got Whoop That Trick with no gingerbread taking on Sami Zayn. I think this is pretty simple. Trick Williams, one and done. Let's move on.
Yup, because Sami Zayn has more deteriorating to do, and Trick Williams needs more stuff to do with this U.S. Championship. I mean, I'm still here for a mellow run back. Let's freaking dig up those old freaking wounds. You know, like, there is a chance to save the United States Championship. Like, everything has its little bit of a, you know, decline, but as long as it's not forever.
Fair enough. Moving on, we have Kit Wilson and The Miz taking on Danhausen and TBA. I mean, I think it seems like a foregone conclusion. Okay, there you go, gyrating and whatnot with your Kit Wilson. I would love to see Kit Wilson and Miz win, but it feels like Danhausen is going to curse everyone anyway, so pick Danhausen, never pick against Danhausen.
Yeah, slip on a banana peel, slip on a mystery tag team partner, you know, explosion in your face, Danhausen, Allhausen, Victoryhausen, money.
Lot of human monies. Roman Reigns taking on Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, you and I kind of talked about this. It feels like another foregone conclusion. First up, Roman Reigns' defense feels like a big slam dunk here. I mean, it's nice to be in the realm of the universe of the Tribal Chief, but it feels like a foregone conclusion to me.
I mean, I love a world where Jacob Fatu could be the World Heavyweight Champion. And, you know, again, have Obafemi right there. Have Braun Breaker, who beat Seth Rollins. And, like, you have this crop of just dangerous, hungry, badass dudes, like, tearing it up at the top of the division. But they're going to have to sit through a little bit of Roman Reigns. And, you know, it's Roman. But, like, hopefully they're able to fill June. That's all, you know, make June feel compelling without the World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, I don't know what pay-per-view is in June because, like, I know they've moved Money in the Bank to, like, September this year. And it's, like, wicked weird to me that it's so late in the year. Like, I'm so used to it being the thing that, like, you know, is like, oh, it's the immediate, like, breakout after WrestleMania thing. And now it's, like, it's after SummerSlam? What?
Would you like to know that there is nothing in June? There's May 31st is Clash in Italy after Backlash, so the last day of May. Then you don't get nothing till SummerSlam, and then, like you said,
they take June and July off? They're crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
That SummerSlam card better be 8 matches. They're skipping 2 pay-per-views.
It's 2 nights, and there's probably a Saturday night's main event slammed in there somewhere in July, I would imagine, or June.
Those damn SNMEs.
For a second there, he was like S&M, and I was like, Freudian slip there, Zach. I think that's pretty much, on that note, that's just probably, I think we're pretty much done, unless you've got something else you want to talk about, but I think we're good.
You know, hopefully all the people that have been released find something happy to do with themselves, you know, whether it be wrestling or not wrestling. And hopefully you continue to enjoy all the jobber knockery that is brought by the great Nestlemania. And all the great wrestling that happens everywhere in the world, because wrestling is such a beautiful thing, isn't it, Nestle?
It is. I'm sure JC is going to give me a mouthful or an earful, depending on which way he decides to give it to me. And on that note, thank you for listening to the Jobber Knocker podcast and watching it. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.